Hey friends, welcome back. Today, we're kicking off a brand new face drawing with the Loomis method, step by step. Stick around till the end, and if you're enjoying it, hit that like button. Let's dive in. All right, you know what's coming next. Yep, the circle. At this point, I've probably drawn more circles than I've had cups of coffee, and that's saying something. But hey, it's the foundation of everything, so grab your pencil and let's nail this one. Now, where exactly do we put this circle? Let's pull a hair back for a second. And here's the sweet spot, right on top of the head. When I'm working in this 3/4 view, I like to start the circle from the very top of the head on the left and bring it all the way around to the right, just above the ear. This sets us up perfectly for the Loomis method. All right, circle's in place. Nailed it. Quick thing before we move on. If you've ever wanted to learn drawing from absolute zero, I've built a complete course that takes you from the very basics all the way to drawing a full, realistic portrait. And the best part? It's already available in English, Spanish, and Hindi, with even more languages coming soon. The link's in the description and pinned comment, so go take a peek. All right, let's move on to drawing the skull cavity, or what I like to call the ball cutout. So where do we start? Its height is about 2/3 of the circle. So I'll mark that distance from the top and the same from the bottom, just to make sure I've got roughly 2/3 of the sphere's height. Now, for the width. It ends right at the edge of the eyebrow, or the tip of it, just like you can see in the reference image with those red lines. Once that's in place, we just connect it into a nice, simple oval shape. Easy. Time for the center lines, the horizontal and the vertical. The horizontal one is the eyebrow line. I'm starting it from the top of the ear and running it right across both eyebrows. You'll notice it tilts slightly to the left. That's because the girl's face is tilted in this reference photo. Next is the vertical line. This is the one that lines up all the facial features. I place it right in the middle between the eyebrows, estimating that center point by eye. From there, I draw it upward, following the curve of the head, because in real life, it's never a perfectly straight line. It curves with the skull and passes through the key points between the eyes, down the nose, through the center of the lips, and the chin. Simple as that. Let's set up 3 key horizontal guides. First, we start at the very top of the oval. This one runs right across the hairline. Next, from the bottom of the oval, straight across the base of the nose. That's our second marker. Notice something? The distance between those two is the same. So we'll measure that same space downward one more time. And that's where the chin sits. Now we've got 3 equal sections, and these are crucial for placing all the facial features just right. Top part's all set. So how do we shape the lower half? The jaw. We'll start right about here, roughly halfway down the bottom of the oval. From that point, I drop a short vertical line, just like this. Now, from the bottom of that line, curve it smoothly into the chin. That gives us the right side of the jaw. For the left side, connect the outside of the big circle down to the chin in the same way. And just like that, the jawline is complete. Let's finish up the overall shape. I'll drop in 2 simple curved lines for the neck. A short one on the left and a slightly longer one on the right coming from the back. Then I just connect them at the bottom to close off the neck, so the Loomis construction doesn't look like it's floating. Once the neck's in place, I'll add this blue line you see in the reference. We've talked about it before. It starts from the top of the ear, follows through the guide, and ends right at the chin. This line's job? It marks the width of the mouth. Super helpful if you ever struggle with placing the lips correctly. From here, I'll clean up the skull shape a bit. It's looking a little too thick behind the ear. I'll taper it so it ends roughly at the middle of the ear. And that's it. The Loomis head foundation is done. Now, let's place the features so we're fully ready to dive into the drawing. Now for the fun part. Let's drop in a small circle for the tip of the nose, right on top of that nose line we set earlier. Next, I'll add a rounded shape. Could be a circle or more of an oval for the eye socket on the right and another one on the left. These will make it way easier to place the eyes later. Now, for the mouth. I'm marking its width between the 2 blue lines we drew earlier. Then, I'll add 1 line for the upper lip and 1 for the lower lip. And just like that, the Loomis head construction is complete, ready for the features. All right, artists, let's jump in. All right, friends, our head construction is locked in, and now it's time for the fun part, drawing the actual features. We're starting with the nose. Before we dive in, quick note, if you want to learn every facial feature in detail and master drawing faces realistically from absolute zero, my full drawing course covers it all. It's currently discounted, and you'll find the link in the description and pinned comment. Trust me, you'll walk away with skills you didn't think were possible. Okay, let's get into it. First, I'll add another circle right next to the one we already placed for the nose tip. This new one sits on the right and is slightly smaller, representing the visible side of the nose. Then a tiny circle underneath on the left for the far side of the nose that's turned away from us. From here, I'll block in the left nostril using a dark tone, pressing the pencil a bit harder so the shadow reads clearly. On the right nostril, I'll make it slightly longer since that side's closer to us in perspective. Next, I'll shape the right side of the nose along the circle we placed earlier and add some light shading down the bridge to give it volume. Don't overdo it. Soft, gradual shading is key here. I'll clean up the extra construction lines in the center, then refine the tip of the nose so it feels natural and rounded. From the top of the nose, I lightly sketch a line heading toward the eyebrow, but I'm not finishing it yet. We'll connect it when we start on the eyes. Finally, I drop in subtle shadows, a bit under the tip, some along the sides, and a light tone down the length of the bridge. These little touches make the nose pop off the page and feel realistic without heavy outlines. The key? Think in simple shapes first, then sculpt it with shading. Easy, clean, and it works every time. All right, moving on from the nose, let's drop down and start connecting it to the mouth. I'll begin with these two short lines right here. They sit between the nose and the mouth, and they help tie both features together. From there, I go straight into the upper lip. I'm really focusing on matching the exact curve because in this reference, the model's lips are naturally full and have a very distinct shape. Once the top lip is locked in, I move on to the bottom lip, and you can clearly see it's thicker and more pronounced. I'll add a few texture lines to give it that natural look and some soft curved shading to bring out the volume. By the way, this style of shading is exactly what I teach in my full pencil drawing course. You'll find the link in the description. Now, with the lips in place, I'll add a bit of shading around them to anchor them into the face and make them feel more realistic. Finally, I'll refine the left side of the face, especially the area next to the mouth, making sure the curves and angles match the reference perfectly. And just like that, the mouth area and everything around it is clean, polished, and ready for the next feature. Now for the ear, we've already nailed its placement from the outside. On the inside, it's really just a few simple lines, some soft shading, and light-dark contrast. It's a small, often overlooked feature in a portrait, so we won't spend too much time here. Quick, clean, and done. Let's move on to the eyebrows. We're drawing them right on the guideline we set at the very beginning. You'll notice the right eyebrow sits a little higher than the left. That's because the head is tilted. So make sure each eyebrow is in the right spot and try to match their natural shape without overfilling or thinning them too much. Small changes here can completely alter the facial expression. It's a simple feature and you'll get it down easily. All right, friends, let's jump straight into the eyes, and we're skipping the hair for now. Hair is pretty much the same in every style, but if you want a full detailed breakdown, let me know in the comments and I'll make an entire video just for that. And don't forget, both hair and the chin are covered in detail inside my full drawing course. That's one of the big perks of the course. We go deep into every important facial feature. If you want to grab it, the link's in the description and pinned comment. Okay, eyes. I start with a horizontal line just below the eyebrows, beginning from the crease above the upper eyelid. That line tilts at the same angle as the face and eyebrows. Once that's in place, I draw the actual crease above the eyelid, following the same slope. Then I move on to the upper eyelid itself, matching that exact same curve, no difference at all. Once the upper eyelid is in, I move on to the lower lid. This gives me the full height and width of the eye so it feels balanced on both sides. I'll drop in a bit of shading under the eye, right where the bone naturally pushes forward. Now for the iris. Notice they're not perfectly centered in the eye. They're shifted to the right because the gaze is clearly looking that way. I'll place both circles, add some light shading, and for the highlight, I'm using a white gel pen to pop that shine. For the eyelashes, I go in with a pencil tip, just enough to give them presence without overpowering the eye. And of course, all of this is explained in much more detail inside my full pencil drawing course, from every little eyelash stroke to realistic lighting. The link is in the description and pinned comment. All right, my friends, that's it for today's lesson. I hope you picked up something useful, and I'll see you in the next tutorial with a brand new Loomis pose. If you've got a pose you'd like me to cover, drop it in the comments. Take care and happy drawing.